Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And what are we talking today?
Well, you said Katy Perry and Johnny Depp, so enlighten us, please.
Katy Perry may be the Blue Origin space mission that I kept going over that didn't seem important. It got a whole lot more interesting to me today because it may have been faked. At least that's what half the internet thinks. And I'm kind of in that boat right now after looking at the evidence.
And even if it wasn't faked, I mean, does it really matter to anybody? No.
Well, if it's fake, it matters because I love conspiracy theories.
Yes, but I mean, if it is fake, it just proves that Jeff Bezos is as insufferable and fake as most people think he is.
And we're going to do all the culture stories here on YouTube. And then we're going to move over to the Green Monster. That's RUMBLE. And we're going to actually review the feminist protest march tape that we had. We filmed a bunch of footage. We filmed a bunch of stuff when we went out a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now.
More than March 8th.
Yeah.
So whenever that was.
We just never had a chance to get it in. I have a new video software, so it's easier for me to input clips and stuff. And
it'll be a way to test out that video software as well, so it might not work, but...
Okay, why don't you go to 15 minutes in Spanish,
sure.
Cut over to you, and then give me a few minutes to set up the cameras.
Okay. Ay, espérenme. Así es, ya regresaron los 15 minutos en español. Todavía no me siento perfecto porque llevo enferma, ahora sí que siento que semanas, aunque han sido como 4 días, pero me enfermé, no sé de qué, no sé qué tengo ni qué me dio, pero he estado básicamente en cama todo este rato y tratando de recuperarme para poder empezar a grabar otra vez, para poder grabar videos editados también. Entonces, si notan que mi energía sigue bastante por el piso, también es por eso, es porque no puedo respirar bien, pero aquí estamos y sí se va a lograr, esperemos. Y gracias a todos los que estén por acá, los que sí lograron llegar, los que andan de vacaciones y los que no andan de vacaciones también. Espero que les esté yendo bien, espero que estén cuidándose mucho por allá afuera. Y una de las noticias del internet que ahorita está circulando, ya sea porque es verdad o porque no es verdad, es que Katy Perry y varias otras feministas subieron al espacio por 3 minutos y luego volvieron a bajar. Y eso al parecer es muy consecuente para ellas, por lo menos, que pues básicamente fue como subirse a un, no carrusel, a un... jueguito en alguna feria y bajar. Es básicamente lo mismo que subirse a las montañas rusas de Reino Aventura. Pero pues varios están en desacuerdo con lo que hicieron, también porque están diciendo que pues se dicen muy ambientalistas y que muy feministas y no sé qué, y que están gastando muchísimo y contaminando muchísimo, y que es como una forma de mostrar cuánto dinero tienen y lo pudientes que son, mientras que el resto del mundo las ve desde abajo. Pero se lo quisieron tomar y lo quisieron pues poner como si hubiera sido gran acontecimiento para las mujeres y empoderamiento, y que empoderante es que hayan subido, ¿cuántas eran? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mujeres al espacio, en una tripulación 100% de mujeres, en donde pues no son realmente astronautas, no tuvieron que entrenar gran cosa que digamos, y todo fue costeado, hecho, producido por pues Jeff Bezos y su Blue Origin, así se llama su compañía espacial, en la competencia esta que traen entre Elon Musk y Jeff Bezos y el otro güey de Virgin, ¿cómo se llama? Richard Branson, por llegar al espacio y por mandar cosas al espacio, porque al parecer es la nueva frontera. Pero veamos rápidamente lo que pasó con Katy Perry y por qué la están acusando celebridades de derroche y daño ambiental, cuando pues yo creo que ella y todas las demás en la tripulación pensaban que iban a ser básicamente veneradas porque fueron al espacio, y cómo puede ser, y 6 mujeres y bla, bla, bla. Numerosas celebridades han calificado el viaje como egoísta debido al uso de recursos y el impacto ambiental que generan estos lanzamientos, los cuales emiten toneladas de dióxido de carbono a la atmósfera y asimismo Mientras muchas de estas mujeres están enojadas y les cae mal Elon Musk y se quejan a cada rato, estoy viendo ahí a Gayle King, que tiene todo un programa donde ha dicho miles de cosas en contra de Elon Musk. No es que a mí me caiga súper bien el señor, pero pues de hipócritas se les ha tachado no solo por eso, pero porque todas siempre, ay, que el medio ambiente y que es lo más importante, y bla, 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 en especial Katy Perry, y ahora pues andan básicamente soltando emisiones a lo loco, nada más para subir 3 minutos al espacio y luego volver a bajar. Dice, ayer Katy Perry, la activista de derechos civiles Amanda Nguyen, nunca la había escuchado, entonces pues no sé qué tan activista sea, pero la ex ingeniera de la NASA, Aisha Bao, obviamente necesitaban a mujeres de color. La productora de cine Carrie Ann Flynn, la periodista Gayle King y supuesta, rumorada, persona muy especial para Oprah Winfrey, y Lauren Sánchez, que es todavía la fiancé o la prometida de Jeff Bezos, que es el dueño de esta compañía Blue Origin y dueño de Amazon, obviamente también, que tienen tanto dinero y no se han casado y no entiendo por qué siguen comprometidos y como que no, pues no están esperando a que les caiga dinerito o que alguien los ayude con la boda. Entonces, por algo será que no están casados, quién sabe por qué. Conformaron la primera tripulación compuesta exclusivamente por mujeres en visitar el espacio desde que la cosmonauta soviética Valentina Tereshkova realizó un vuelo solitario en 1963. Sin embargo, lo que muchos consideran una hazaña, no sé por qué, se sentaron, flotaron tantito, 2-3 segundos y luego volvieron a bajar. Y también, pues como decíamos en inglés, se rumora que tal vez, pues ni siquiera subieron, ni siquiera flotaron y todo fue, pues, imágenes computarizadas, digámoslo así, y que nunca salieron de la atmósfera de la Tierra. Por parte de la opinión pública que ha recordado a Jeff Bezos, propietario de Blue Origin, la empresa que llevó a estas mujeres al espacio, que este tipo de viajes no aporta avances científicos significativos y representa más bien un símbolo del exceso y la falta de compromiso ambiental. Aquí andan flotando en el espacio. Estaba tratando de quitarle el volumen por sí. Pero sí, se tomaron videos flotando en el espacio. No sé cómo todo el Botox no se les salió literalmente o se les fue todo hasta la frente y bajaron todas como con cara de alien. Pero pues sí, ahí lo más verdadero yo creo que son sus inyecciones. Y hay varias teorías de que por la forma en la que los videos se tomaron y cómo se ve el horizonte, pues podría pensarse que tal vez todo fue completamente falso. Y estaban ya sea en un tanque de agua que fue grabado antes o en una de esas tanques de simulación que se usan para entrenar a astronautas que sí llegan al espacio eventualmente. Y se me hace raro también que hayan dejado que trajeran los pelos por todos lados, porque normalmente se supone que cualquier tipo de partícula y de polvo o pelos que lleguen a caer en algún componente especial de, pues esta nave no es una nave, es más bien como una cápsula donde la echaron para arriba y luego bajó solita, pero que podría ser contraproducente si se atora en la puerta o en alguna de las ventanas pero pues quién sabe, chance ya han avanzado más, porque esto sí fue un vuelo más turístico, digamos. Dice, no solo miles de personas han calificado su descontento, manifestado su descontento, sino también numerosas celebridades, quienes han calificado el viaje como egoísta debido al uso de recursos y el impacto ambiental que generan estos lanzamientos, los cuales emiten toneladas de dióxido de carbono a la atmósfera. Emily Ratajkowski, insufrible. Olivia Wilde, también insufrible. Y Amy Schumer, también insufrible, pero en este caso coincido con ellas que sí fue más bien una aventura de frivolidad que algo que realmente debería de importarle al mundo en general y una forma de nada más que salgan sus nombres tantito en las noticias del día. Pero bueno, Amy Schumer y Olivia Wilde fueron algunas de las figuras públicas que recurrieron a las redes sociales para criticar el histórico lanzamiento espacial liderado por la prometida de Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sánchez. Olivia Munn también, otra insufrible, pero pues por lo menos se están poniendo de acuerdo, no sé si sean celos, no sé si sea que ellas querían estar ahí arriba también, o que si tuvieran la oportunidad, por ejemplo, Amy Schumer, Olivia Wilde, Olivia Munn, de subir también al espacio, que no lo harían, quién sabe. Pero pues sí, todos que excesos, que cómo pueden gastarse todo dióxido de carbono y hacer todo este show, nada más para algo que no va a servir a la exploración espacial. Pero pues más y más yo creo que van a empezar a lanzar a más celebridades y influencers y gente insoportable al espacio. Si pudieran, pues que se quedaran por allá arriba estaría mejor, pero pues eso ya sería mucho pedir. Y pues sí, bajaron, regresaron y también, como estábamos diciendo, hay toda una teoría. Este artículo es traducido del inglés al español porque no encontré uno en español hablando sobre esto, pero los teóricos de la conspiración afirman que la misión Blue Origin fue falsa, ya que los escépticos afirman que el lanzamiento del cohete con Katy Perry tuvo el peor CGI. Y dijeron que durante el lanzamiento parecía que todo ese show había sido pues hecho a computadora. También que llevaron 1000 cositas y las andaban lanzando por ahí. Ay, mira, estamos flotando. Como que ni siquiera tomaron el tiempo para ver hacia afuera, ver a la ventana, ver desde otra perspectiva al mundo, a la Tierra. Más bien estuvieron pues, flotando por ahí, para arriba y para abajo. Y lo que más me impresionó y de lo que más me di cuenta, lamentablemente, es que en qué momento Katy Perry y también Gayle King, en qué momento se empezaron a meter Ozempic, quién sabe, pero Katy Perry ya está así, cuando pues hace unos años era la más body positive y que el cuerpo positivo y positividad ante cualquier tipo de cuerpos y todos los cuerpos son válidos, pero ahora pues el suyo está así. Entonces, una más que es bastante doble cara, digamos. Pero muchas teorías salieron en X de que era falso. Estoy tratando aquí de buscar que el lanzamiento del cohete se veía completamente falso, que usaron CGI o imágenes computarizadas, y que Jeff Bezos nada más lo está usando como forma de publicitar su aerolínea, aeroespacio línea, no sé cómo se diga, pero que nada fue real y que también cuando trataron de salir de la cápsula parece que ese tipo de cápsulas no se pueden abrir desde adentro normalmente. El tipo de cápsulas en el que viajaron, que se llamaba Good Shepherd, que en español sería buen pastor, supongo, alguna alusión bíblica y le quisieron meter. También hay toda una línea y teoría de conspiraciones de que traían símbolos satánicos y no voy a decir el nombre, pero que todo fue un ritual satánico. A ese sí no sé si le crea tanto, pero que cuando llegó la cápsula, se supone que este tipo de cápsulas no son fáciles de abrir por adentro, no se pueden abrir desde adentro porque pues, si la abres en el espacio te conviertes en polvo en 2 segundos. Entonces, que alguien tiene que ir a abrirla para quien esté adentro y que cuando llegó Jeff Bezos, justo antes de que llegara Jeff Bezos, como que llegó a tratar de abrirla con su cosita de tuercas especial, pero que ya las niñas de adentro, las mujeres de adentro, porque no son niñas, todas tienen como 40, ya habían abierto la puerta. Aquí está la cosa esa satánica, que dice que es satánico. Ay, sí, no sé si. Creo que ya está un poquito muy jalado, digamos. Pero que cuando llegó Jeff Bezos a tratar de abrir la cápsula, que las niñas ya la habían abierto, quién sabe cómo, y que les dijeron, no, espérate, no la abras, hasta que llegó Jeff Bezos y otra vez trató de abrirla él mismo. Ahí está el señor tratando de abrirla. Y al rato, porque yo traté de buscar videos, pero creo que Guy tiene un video, pero déjenme ver si sirve. Bueno, esto es cómo se ve bastante como si fuera falso, si fueran imágenes creadas a computadora. Muchos están alegando que todo este despegue se ve como si hubiera sido creado en CGI o con imágenes computarizadas y que no se ve real para nada. Yo la verdad pues no soy experta en nada del espacio ni ningún tipo de no les podría decir si es cierto o si no es cierto. Pero esas son las últimas noticias y alegatos que hay sobre todo este viaje, que en mi opinión no debería ni siquiera de haber sido noticia. Es como si hubieran tomado un vuelo a, no sé, las Islas Maldivas, pasado 3 minutos ahí y regresado. Es casi lo mismo. No aportaron nada, no fue un gran evento para las mujeres del mundo. Como ellas dijeron mientras andaban ahí flotando, dijeron taking up space o tomando espacio mientras estaban en el espacio, qué cagadas. Pero no se me hizo nada consecuente, ni que debería de ser algo consecuente. Más y más celebridades, más y más gente con mucho dinero van a estar gastando dinero para subir y bajar 3-4 minutos. Eventualmente algún día llegarán a más lejos, supongo. Pero para los meros mortales, pues no están ni aportando nada al avance científico, ni espacial, ni aeronáutico. Y pues nada más es una forma de Jeff Bezos de pues mostrar cuánto dinero tiene y cuánto le importa, pues cuánto le importan las apariencias. Entonces, pues esa fue la historia hasta ahora, hasta donde lo tenemos, de todo este viaje de Katy Perry y las demás al espacio. Y pues importa mucho, no creo, pero pues es de lo que más se está hablando ahorita, de toda esta experiencia comunal que estamos teniendo. Lo que sí es que hay muchos memes muy chistosos, traté de poner algunos, pero la mayoría estaban en inglés, entonces pues ¿para qué me tardo traduciendo cuando no va a hacer mucho sentido? Pero si ven memes en español, taguenos en Instagram o en X y los veremos mañana, supongo. Pero pues sí, esa fue la noticia de Katy Perry, aventurera espacial o no. Ya, es que está grabando, Guy. Ahora voy a ver si me dejaron comentarios. No hace mucho sentido ahorita lo que estoy diciendo. Tengo mucho calor. Creo que tengo fiebre todavía. No sé, pero estoy sudando. TMI, demasiada información, pero sí se puede. A ver si puedo cortar ese segmento y subirlo. Si es que hizo algo de sentido, no sé. Pero Walker dice, hola a todos, hello everyone, hola Walker. Moisés Ramírez dice, Rafa dice, hello, hola Rafa. Walker dice, raro, según sea, los astronautas les piden que se quiten el apéndice, se lo habrán quitado. No sabía que les pedían que se quitaran el apéndice, no sabía que era un requerimiento, pero pues supongo que si te da apendicitis allá arriba, pues es bastante difícil y es de lo más como común que puedes tratar de resolver en la Tierra antes de subir, pero supongo que eso es para viajes más largos, porque en 3 minutos si alguien le da apendicitis en lo que bajan ya... es más rápido que suban, le dé apendicitis, salgan allá arriba y bajen en esos 3 minutos y los lleven al hospital o las curen ahí mismo, que subirte a un coche si te da apendicitis en la Ciudad de México y tratar de llegar a un hospital. Supongo que no era necesario que se quitaran el apéndice, no he escuchado nada de que se tuviera que quitar el apéndice. Jessica Ramírez dice saludos, gracias por estar por aquí. Y Walker dice el comienzo del turismo espacial. Sí, y luego van a estar los que alegan que contamina mucho y luego los que van a decir que es súper importante hacer este tipo de exploración espacial. Entonces, va a ser lo mismo que con los vuelos comerciales, que con los cruceros, etcétera, etcétera, y se va a estar reservado hasta dentro de como 100 años solamente para las élites y los que quieran decir que llegaron al espacio, pero pues no cuenta, ¿verdad? Bueno, en mi opinión no cuenta si nada más subes y bajas. Pero bueno, gracias por escuchar la sección en español. Ya me voy porque ya no siento que estoy haciendo mucho sentido y cada vez que hablo se me tapa la nariz y tengo que toser. Entonces, muchas gracias por estar por aquí. Y ahora sí nos vamos con inglés. De ahí nos vamos a RUMBLE, o el monstruo verde, como le dice Guy, donde podemos hablar sobre política más abiertamente. Y para los que nos habían pedido y que yo había prometido desde hace mucho, vamos a ver algunos de los videos que tomamos durante la marcha del 8M en la Ciudad de México, que no pudimos no logramos entrevistar a nadie. Pero queríamos sacar los videos y no sabíamos cómo, ahora ya supimos cómo, entonces vamos a ver algunos, por si a alguien le interesa. Pero nos vemos mañana si ya se van y solo venían a lo de español, y si no, ahora sí nos vamos con inglés. Muchas gracias, buenas noches, si están de vacaciones cuídense mucho y no hagan cosas tontas. There we go.
Well, that seemed like a pretty good article you had, because I wasn't... I know all day I was actually researching the conspiracy theory of the space flight, so I wasn't sure if you had everything in depth, but they got a lot of the points in the article, I could tell.
Yeah, I didn't really go through it because I was trying the whole time not to cough. Yes.
I'm going to go through it in a few minutes. I got some clips, and I'm just going to show one of the major clips that kind of debunk the fact that this may have been a real space mission, but... we'll get into it in a little bit. Why don't we start with the Johnny Depp story? Or what were the comments, by the way?
Just people saying hello, Walker saying hello, Rafa saying hello, Moisés Ramírez, Jessica Ramírez as well. And people just saying like, Walker said it's the start of space tourism? And I said yes, and now they'll make a whole thing about how much it pollutes as well and how bad it is for the environment. And
they actually got to get a real ship before they can do it.
Rich people will be able to do it for the next 100 years, so it's inconsequential to us mere mortals. And Walker also said that he had heard that, or she had heard that they required astronauts to get their appendix out. And I said, well, that makes sense if they're going up into the International Space Station or if they're going on a longer flight, because appendicitis is one of the things that you can be preventable against. So yes, you don't want someone up there with appendicitis, because how are you going to fix them? But I said in the time it took them to go up for 3 minutes and down, it would be just like, that would be faster to get them help than if you got in a car here, if you had appendicitis in Mexico City, and try to get to a hospital. Yeah. That would take way longer. That would be more dangerous. So
the 2-minute space journey to nowhere.
I said, I don't think they had to take their appendixes out because it was so short and because it wasn't a real, actual space thing.
Okay, well, let's get into Johnny Depp.
Sure. 1 second. I have to
And Johnny Depp's making his return, it looks like, and it's a role specifically suited for him.
Yes, Johnny Depp returns to Hollywood as Day Drinker, starts filming. Lionsgate drops first look at thriller co-starring Penelope Cruz, good friend of his, and Madeline Klein, Manu Rios, Aaron Piper, Juan Diego Boto, and Annika Boyle will also star in the film from Mark Webb. And there's some stills that have come out from shooting, and he looks different.
Well, they were talking about, there was a teaser trailer. I looked all over the internet. It's not out yet. So there is no actual footage of this thing, but they do have this image. I did watch a lot of current Johnny Depp clips of him in real life, looking for the actual movie clip. And man, he is a drunk.
Yes.
I like the guy a lot though.
I do I've always, when I was little, I was in love with him. I loved him in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was my favorite. The reason I would watch Pirates of the Caribbean, watch the whole trial with you. I've just always been a huge fan.
Well, yeah, so I'm definitely interested
and I never really believed the whole Amber Heard thing. Yeah. So that was annoying.
Well, I'm definitely interested to see the new film. We'll see how it goes. I'm wondering I couldn't find much about it, so I'm wondering what the script's going to be.
And it looked, at least because during the trial and a bit before that, I mean, a lot of people were saying it was for a role, but he looked filled out, let's just say. He looked like a little tank.
For the role right here, he looks skinny though.
That's what I was going to say. For the role he had previously, I think he played a king. I forgot what the name of the movie was. Yeah. But in a French movie, he helped direct or he helped produce. But in this one, now he's looking skinnier again.
But now he's getting fat again. It was just for the role he got skinny. Because I seen interviews and I was like, oh my God, that was quick. Yeah. But so he's playing. It seems to me that he's probably playing a drunk in this. And that's the perfect role to come back to for him.
So Day Drinker tells the story of a private yacht bartender, Klein, who encounters a mysterious onboard guest, Depp. So he's a mysterious onboard guest. They soon find themselves entangled with a criminal figure, Penelope Cruz, and connected in ways no one saw coming. So it sounds kind of like an action-adventure thing.
And Penelope Cruz has been in 4 previous movies with Johnny Depp.
Yes,
Pirates of the Caribbean and Blow. Blow was by far the best that they were in together. That's one of Johnny's best movies, I thought, anyway.
Yes.
Have you seen it or no?
A lot when I was younger, a long time ago. I've seen every single thing he has done. Funnily enough, and a lot of Mexicans will hate me for this, but one of my favorite things he's been in, and one of my favorite characters of his is from Once Upon a Time in Mexico. A lot of people from Mexico hate that movie because it's full of stereotypes. But every time I would joke with him when I couldn't do something, he would say, "Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?" I'd say I'm a Mexican because Johnny asks that of Danny Trejo, actually, the Mexican actor.
I love Danny Trejo. Yeah. So
I do like that movie, even though Mexicans will hate me for it.
And I'm glad he's doing it with Lionsgate because we're originally from Vancouver, and Lionsgate Films is huge up there. I don't know if the film company is actually named after the bridge, but it's the Lionsgate. It is. It's the Lionsgate Bridge in Vancouver. So it was actually the story of the Lionsgate Bridge is pretty interesting, a little bit off topic, but it was originally a privately financed bridge by the Guinness family. Yes, the Guinness alcohol company. And they built it as a private bridge, put tolls in it, but eventually they donated it to the city. So the Guinness family has big connections with Vancouver.
And funnily enough, when I used to work at a school in Vancouver, I had to cross that bridge every single day for 2.5 years.
Well, when the protests take over that bridge.
And there was a lot of, what's it called? There was a lot of traffic all the time. So people that don't think there's traffic in Vancouver, it would take me sometimes an hour just to get across. Because I could see the school I used to work at from almost my house, but just to get there, you had to cross the stupid bridge.
Yeah, if you live across those bridges, it takes forever. But when there's a protest on the bridge or a jumper off of the bridge, man, it really shuts down everything downtown.
Because it's one of the only ways to get into downtown from North Vancouver, which is technically another city, or out. Yeah. There's another one, but that's really far away.
Okay, probably nobody cares about Vancouver, but let's go into Lady Gaga and her witchcraft.
Yeah, you put this in there. I don't really care. Lady Gaga casts a spell at the 2025 Grammys with her new single, Abracadabra. It's mostly about the song and how it's witchcraft, according to you.
The Abracadabra, well, she actually admitted it was she says it's a protectionist spell and that it is witchcraft.
Protection spell.
And the Abracadabra is a Hebrew phrase, I create as I speak. So that's what the phrase actually means. So
which is funny.
She's been really connected to a lot of witchcraft, and a lot of people think she is a witch.
I don't believe in witches. I believe people are crazy enough to believe in those things. But I am planning to release a way longer edited video about feminism and its connections to, one of their connections is to witchcraft and how it lies deeper than a lot of people think.
And
so
I love,
that'd be interesting.
I don't believe in witchcraft, yet I'm making a video on witchcraft.
Well, on how they were trying to get away from religion because they thought religion was trying to bring women down, etc.
Well, yeah, I like to deep dive into conspiracies, so I love before I go to bed looking into witch stuff like that.
I hear it all.
And that's how I got this story.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
was that it?
That was it. But I kind of brought it up because you were telling me that this girl's not demonic, that she's great. The last time we talked about her. I didn't say she's great.
I don't like Lady Gaga. I've never really liked her. I never really understood her or her music. Like, same as Beyonce, I don't understand why these people are so big. I understand that she started a cultural movement. I don't think she's a good actress, for example. I don't know why she went into acting.
Well, her and Beyonce are both witches. And Megan Fox might be a witch, too.
Beyonce's just controlled. Megan Fox just did a movie about where she used to eat men.
See, she is a witch.
Yes, I believe some people might be foolish enough to think it's real.
I think in Hollywood circles, it's huge. And I think
it's big. Again, I think they think it's real,
but
I don't think it's real.
Satanic worship within Hollywood circles is huge as well.
Again, I think that they do that. I just don't think it has any effect.
Okay.
But it's creepy that they do it, yes.
I'm not even going to bring up the mermaids I was going to talk about, but
what mermaids?
No.
Bring up the mermaids.
No. Let's go to the next thing.
What mermaids?
I'm not talking.
What mermaids? I'm not going to bring up the mermaids. Now you have to bring it up.
I'll tell you where to find the video if you want to find it after we're done here.
But it's in the next story. Are Hollywood celebrities mermaids?
It's in the next story.
Is that the story?
Who's
a mermaid?
Let's go to the next story here. And the next story is about the fake space mission, or possible fake space mission, at least in my opinion. I'm going to show some clips here in just a sec. But there is a conspiracy channel by the name of Jay Miz. That's Jaymez. And he did a good deep dive. And he goes into these deep dives. He's kind of an internet sleuth. And he brings up the articles live and the stuff he thinks is real or more likely to be real. He says so. And other stuff he tries to debunk live.
Oh, before we leave, sorry.
Yeah.
The Lady Gaga thing. Rafa's said, don't forget to like the video. Yes, thank you so much. And also he says, do you think she actually believes in that satanic crap, or she only uses it as part of the show? I think she only uses it as part of the show.
I think she actually believes in the satanic crap.
#DevsVolt.
Yeah.
I think maybe she believes in it, maybe she doesn't, but of course it's going to attract.
Well, and I think she believes in it so much, and I believe a lot of powerful people in Hollywood circles, if she's willing to do certain things and they believe that she's following satanic worship and things like that, they're going to elevate her up the ladder and things, just like Beyonce.
Maybe they are doing it and maybe they do think it's real. I just don't think it's actually real. I think maybe they think it's real.
Okay.
But it's not.
Oh yeah, so I was talking about J-Miz. This is a great conspiracy channel, and you were talking about the mermaids. If you want to find out about the mermaid conspiracy theory, which I don't think is
Why
real.
don't you quickly tell us what it is?
No,
Since you've spoken about it enough.
I don't. You have to go. It's a whole hour video about the mermaids. Mermaids may exist. There is some evidence.
Maybe I'm a mermaid.
No,
Yeah,
you're far
mermaid
from
hair.
it. A banshee. Then they do have they do sirens.
You know what banshees do?
Yeah, they scream.
They scream when someone's about to die or someone dies. I don't scream.
Okay, so let's go into, let me change my screen here. And, okay, you can come over to my screen now.
How?
Just press out the button. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to watch this, and there was actually a ton of evidence showing that...
I spoke about it in Spanish. Kind of quickly.
Yeah, they had a satanic logo on all their patches, which I found to be a little sickening. And also...
I said I don't believe... I think they're just pulling at strings.
Well, watch the J-Miz video and you may think differently.
I don't like...
But we're going to go into
videos.
detail here, and I'll highlight a few things on this video. And this was just one of the pieces of evidence. There was about 15 different pieces of evidence. And you did show the... what do you call it?
The rocket that looks like CGI?
Yeah, the rocket that is CGI. It didn't look like CGI.
Yes. I said I didn't know.
It looked like they had real clips of a
assertions.
rocket going up, and then they mixed it with the CGI clip. And now, if they wanted to make it look better, or they had the CGI clip, they needed to make it clear that was CGI, because watching it, anybody that knows anything about CGI knows that is CGI. Mm-hmm. So, but let's get into this clip right here, and I'm going to fast forward it a little bit and move it around. So...
to see. That is correct.
And we should be able to talk over the audio. You can see that girls inside. I want to highlight one thing here real quick, and that's going to be these little things on the door.
He's all excited because he can now draw on things.
So if you look at the 3 little holes on the door, that's going to be used for this tool that...
A wrench.
Oh, it's a specialty space wrench.
The special space wrench.
And now we can see kind of right here in Bezos' hand, he's got this wrench to open this door.
It looks like something else right there.
This is supposed to be airlocked and space-ready craft. Wrench. So let me clear this out.
Ew, I don't know anything about Jeff Bezos' special wrench.
Okay, guys, did you see that? Let's go back and watch it one more time.
Nothing.
Okay, now I want you to watch the
Okay, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. And here
you
we
see
go.
the girls there.
So it's taking
Why is he just standing there?
They have to wait. Use a special space wrench to open this thing up.
Because, and as I was saying in Spanish, these kinds of rockets are designed so you can't just open it up on the fly.
Okay. So
while you're in space, because
see, they open the door right here. They accidentally open it. She tells them to close it, and you can hear Bezos saying something, and they laugh about it. And he's supposed to have the specialty space wrench on this airlocked container, and the girls open it from the inside. Nobody touches the door.
What I was gonna say is, it's designed this way so. Non-astronauts cannot open it while they're up in space and turn into dust. Because the pressure would just turn you into dust if you open up accidentally the door. So it was technically designed so you can't open it.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a huge super emergency, and I think only 1 or 2 of them
Once
knew
it
how to
lands,
do
you're
it.
supposed to be able to open it, but the fact that this whole thing is they're playing like he's got this specialty space wrench and he has to open it. So we've already seen the door open once. Let's watch when Bezos tries to open the door. He's kind of got it. It's not in the hole. Oh, it just flings open.
Because he pushed it.
Let's just go back just a second here.
I don't know if people care.
And pause it. Well, I care about it.
Okay.
And I just want you to pay attention to right here, not just Jeff Bezos' ass, but where the door flings open, you're going to be able to see the corner of the door as it goes open, and it looks extremely flimsy to me. So let's watch it real quick. As the door opens, I mean, that's supposed to keep them safe in space. That thing looks like it's made of styrofoam or something.
Well, I think it's one of those mechanisms where it has 2 latches. So it's not like that part, like the airplane doors, like they're not connected.
Yeah, but it kind of bounced when it opened. And airplane doors don't bounce.
Because it's heavy.
Okay, well, this was
It bounced 'cause it's
this was
heavy.
one piece of evidence. I'd highly recommend people look into the others because I didn't want to go over the whole thing and look like a
Well,
huge.
also something I did mention was that all their hair was loose. I said it was amazing that their Botox didn't all fly up to their foreheads and they came back with giant heads, giant foreheads. But because I said that was probably the most real thing in the whole thing, their Botox. But I said their hair was loose, and supposedly in spacecraft, you're not supposed to have like dust particles, hairs that could get into some sort of like the breathing mechanisms or the, the whole thing is super delicate. You're not supposed to have even dust particles.
They all had skin tight spacesuits.
And they also had a lot of makeup on.
It seemed like a media hoax to me. I don't know, but I was also going to say something else.
But even if they did go up,
they also had these windows,
who cares?
and these windows have no tinting on them, and the radiation from the sun in space is extremely toxic.
But they were up for way too little time.
I don't know. You should really look into this thing in depth. Okay. Well, let's continue on to the next story.
Sure. Oh, but I did want to mention. How do I go back to me? There. I did want to mention that a lot of other celebrities are slamming Katy Perry and all these other people, these other trailblazing women who I don't know what they blazed. But Katy Perry's disgusting space mission slammed by huge celebrities who brand it as gluttonous. Katy Perry's Blue Origin space mission has been attacked by a handful of celebrities who have branded the trip disgusting and gluttonous, including Emily Ratajkowski, who might
leave it here on the picture.
Olivia Munn.
Leave it here. Okay. The black girl way in the back, she's a newscaster.
Gayle King?
And
she's also the very close friend to Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, Oprah Winfrey was at the launch. There was all these celebrities that are
Orlando Bloom, because Katy Perry.
Yeah. But the newscaster in the back, she was upset on what everybody was saying online, that it was fake, that it was this and that. So she tried to defend it, and then she goes, well, he's just trying to help the world. This is where we want to get rid of our garbage. So, who thinks it's a good idea to launch garbage into space?
They already do that.
That's crazy.
They already do that.
And how much does it cost to launch a piece of garbage into space? Way too much.
I don't know, but they do that. And there's also a giant garbage space belt loop thing circling the Earth because of all the broken satellites that they can't bring down.
Broken satellites are different than launching actual garbage into space.
But that is space garbage, basically, already.
But it's a little different.
But I mean, they have said that they plan to launch garbage into the.
It's too expensive right now to launch garbage into space.
It's not the first time it's been talked about.
Yeah, it's crazy. The only way they'll be able to afford to actually put massive amounts of garbage in space is if they build the space elevator, and supposedly Japan's working on it right now.
Well, they already sent 6 pieces of garbage.
So I guess you're right.
Yes,
okay.
And another thing that I said in Spanish, but I just wanted to ask you because you're a dude. Lauren Sanchez, this one. That kind of looks like a
Jeff Bezos' girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The post-op trans woman, probably.
Yeah.
Why haven't they gotten married? It's not like they're waiting to get money or they need help with the wedding. Why have they been engaged for so long?
Oh, I didn't know they were engaged.
Well, it says fiance everywhere. So
yeah. So I'm guessing maybe. Do they have a kid or no?
I mean, I think Jeff does. Maybe she does separately, put together. No. I don't think they do.
Maybe they won't get married. Who knows?
But then why are they engaged?
Well, it's good for It's a good look for him.
Why? She's ugly. Okay, whatever. Now I'm just sounding petty.
Well, because
she looked like a man.
Mark Zuckerberg likes her. You didn't see it when they went to the.
Oh yeah, I was looking at.
He was checking her out at the White House.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into the next story.
Space balloons. Yes. Oh, this was just more about it being fake. Minecraft, again, movie sparks chaos.
Okay, but this
Theater
was a little
blocks concessions after viral trend. And you don't let me talk about this like I want to, so you go ahead.
But this was a little bit more interesting, so maybe we can have a different take on it today. Okay, so this was Minecraft, and a theater in Wisconsin actually started banning popcorn sales to anybody that was under 18. They're feeling like they're going to have to do something. I don't know if it's going to work. I think kids are going to actually start sneaking in candy in their jackets and stuff.
Well, they're sneaking in chickens, aren't they?
Yeah, so... But they had to do something, and theaters need to start coming up with a protocol now because if TikTok trends start to escalate over the next few years, they really need to have a pre-orchestrated plan to kind of how to deal with these things because they are going to come up in the future.
I mean, I also think parents should educate their children better to not do that.
Yeah, but it's kind of rowdy teens taking over the theater, and I don't think their parents really have a lot of control over them at that age.
They should. If you educate your children properly, you would have control over them. You wouldn't need control over them because they would know how to fucking behave.
Okay, why don't you read a little bit of the story and give me your take?
Fans of the popular video game Minecraft are flocking to theaters to see the new movie based on the game, but a viral trend among some theater goers continues to raise concerns nationwide. And now here, because this is a newspaper from Northeast Wisconsin, the viral chicken jockey trend has made its way to a theater in Door County. Tucker knows that a Minecraft fan shares how he would feel if he were in theaters during the viral trend, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so we've kind of covered this story. We know that they're taking off their shirts, bringing chickens in, and there's dumping popcorn all over the place. So they're trying to deal with the popcorn because that takes up a lot of time between showings. They usually have about 15 minutes to clean up the theater.
It's wasteful. I like popcorn.
So
give it to me.
What do you think this is the appropriate steps the theater's taking, or?
Well, I mean, it's the necessary step, I guess, if they don't want to have their underpaid workers have to clean up after a bunch of children that are not really children, they're teenagers. But I think that even if they restrict it to over 18s, I think a lot of these idiots are past 18.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these, the ones that are trying to be influencers, the ones that are, probably bringing in the bigger things like the chickens and stuff, they're probably over 18. So what good is that doing? I think it just needs to be civility.
But
civility classes? No. Manner classes.
I think you're right. A large portion is
Manners.
over 18, but at least 50% of the audience is under 18. And if they can limit the amount of boxes of popcorn that are
yeah, but then what if the parent goes and buys them popcorn?
If the parent's there, they're not buying them popcorn to dump.
They might.
No.
They might be like, oh, I promise I won't dump it, and then do it anyway.
No, because
I worked with teenagers.
I worked at a theater, so.
And I worked with teenagers for 5 years.
Yeah, but not their parents.
No, but let's just say a lot of newer age parents are not as involved or don't care as much.
Parents aren't going with their kids as teens to the theater as much as you think. It's mainly when they're kids.
No, but maybe like they'll go to the concession, buy them the popcorn, and then tell them, okay, go in, I'll wait out here.
You live in conspiracy land now because we've all seen...
Okay, Mr. Mermaids in Witchcraft.
That's real, by the way.
No.
But we have seen the clips, and the clips don't show any parents in the audience. It's like large groups of teens that are kind of egging each other on to do this crazy stuff.
But I mean, I do think there should be some sort of consequences. If the parents aren't going to give consequences, then, I mean, the bigger environment should.
Well, I think the movie theater just kind of wants to avoid it at this point.
Yes.
So
but
that's the best the movie theater can do. I mean, unless they want to call the police, but do you really want to start banning your customers from the theaters? I don't know.
I mean, if they're behaving in that way, maybe.
Okay, let's go into The Last of Us Season 2.
Last of Us Season 2 premiere hits 5.3 million viewers, up 13% from series launch.
And they turned this thing gay, and everybody knows they turned this thing gay, and they're continuing to turn it gay. Supposedly, it's going to go even more gay in Season 2, but people are continuing to watch it, so we'll see if the viewership does begin to drop off.
Did you ever watch it?
No, but it made a lot of controversy in Season 1 when the main character... What's his name again?
Pedro Pascal,
I believe. He got in a love affair with another guy.
He did?
Supposedly.
Okay.
I remember an article.
Is it about like a virus and fungus?
It's based on a video game.
About a virus and fungus?
I don't know if it's a virus or fungus.
Because I never really piqued my attention.
You have a virus right now, though.
Yes, I do.
But you're not the last one.
Well, I don't know if it's a virus. It's death.
Well, you thought it was meningitis.
Because my neck was hurting, and I started reading online. I'm usually not like that, but it was hurting so much because I slept wrong that I thought maybe.
Well, we just got you an old woman recliner, and you made me move it to the front room so you can sit in the front room. And feel
it's my editing chair, so I can edit comfortably because I don't sit like a normal human being. I like to put my feet up because I can never reach the floor because I'm very short. So I usually like sit cross-legged or with my legs in the chair, like on the chair.
Well, what we
obviously not in public, not in polite company, but like when I'm editing, because it's hours and hours, and these chairs would just end up hurting me.
Well, what she ended up doing is I would go to bed and she would stay up at these desks that we're at now and just edit all night till like 5 and 6 a.m. And I'm like, what are you still doing up? And she would literally fall asleep, head on the table, wake up, and then continue editing.
Yeah.
Which is craziness. So we got her.
That's how I work.
We got her an old woman recliner. So
if anybody out there is an editor, you know what it's like.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next story. People don't want to hear your editing sob stories.
It's not you made it a sob story. I liked the way I did things. Diego Luna on saying goodbye to Cassian Andor in season 2. It's sad, it's painful, but I also know how lucky I am.
And this was supposedly the one good Star Wars, other than the Mandalorian thing that they kind of did. I didn't watch it, but I did watch the trailer. The trailer did look rather good. People that did talk about it actually said it was good, but one series is not going to save the franchise, and I'm glad that this is the last season because now we're going to be able to see Star Wars for what it is. It's a piece of garbage. They've absolutely ruined the franchise. The only way to bring it back is if they use the 60 scripts George Lucas wrote just before Disney bought the company. They're sitting there. They refuse to use them. It's supposed to be $40 million an episode. That's why they never made these scripts into reality. But they are sitting there, and it would create a lot of buzz. George Lucas spent a lot of time and a lot of money on each script. He brought in professional scriptwriters that were well known within the industry. So the fact that he wrote these scripts, but they never actually shot them, is interesting.
And also, just quickly, I just noticed, Polo 007, thank you so much for the super sticker, for the 50 peso super sticker.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's a super sticker. It's a little... I don't know what that is. It's a little man playing a
And
trumpet.
did he write a comment or
That's
anything?
a super sticker.
Oh, I don't know anything. You're the one that does all the
Yes.
YouTube stuff.
Yeah, you don't know.
Oh, and thank you for the 2 subscribers we got on Rumble as well, because
Yes.
we're at 49 now.
Yes.
Almost
Thank you.
halfway.
On
Once we
RUMBLE.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting.
But thank you so much.
But yeah, Andor is coming to an end. The trailer for season
Keep
2
forgetting.
did look rather good, though. So I may end up watching it. Oh,
All of it?
Yeah, can you ask Walker? Or I guess I'll ask Walker. I think
Yes, you
Walker
ask
was the one that recommended a Russian documentary series, and I couldn't remember
It
the
wasn't
name.
a documentary, it was a series. I
Oh, a
think.
series. I couldn't remember the name.
We couldn't find it on the chats because we didn't remember if
Well,
you did it
I
over
looked
on the
for-
Green Monster or on YouTube, so we couldn't find it.
I was looking for that series on
Should've screenshotted
Netflix, and then we looked for your comment, and I couldn't find it. So
Yeah.
if you write it again, if it was Walker that wrote the comment, let
Or
us know.
Rafa. It was one of those two.
Yeah. Okay.
thank you.
We got 2 more stories before we head over to RUMBLE
the Green
and
Monster.
go over the footage from the Feminist March.
Yes. That UK Netflix tax, not going to happen, but streamers may get dragged into Trump's trade war. A UK government committee floated an additional levy on subscribers to foreign streaming platforms, an idea greeted skeptically by close observers.
Yeah, and the UK government is an absolute joke, and they've been a joke for decades. But now that they're trying to do this, it's crazy because the BBC, they used to have a tax, they still do. When you buy a TV, you have to pay a tax for your TV that funds the BBC directly. Like they get
Similar to what Canada was trying to do.
Yeah, and
With news.
But the fact that you're going to ban Netflix is very conscientious when they go into each country. So if you have Netflix within Canada, a certain amount of the content is going to be Canadian content, and in the UK, a certain amount is going to be UK content. That's why Netflix is dramatically different if you have a VPN and you log in different regions. So usually the US is the best region, but the fact that they were trying to tax Netflix, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And
especially after the whole adolescence thing, which I made a video on. Thank you to everybody who watched the video. But it says just days after Netflix announced record viewing figures for British series phenomenon Adolescence, which lies through its teeth, the drama racked up 114 million views in just 24 days on the platform, making it the 4th most successful English language series of all time on Netflix. The UK Parliament heard how its local TV industry is under threat, that global streamers are part of the problem. The report presented to the British House of Commons by the UK Cultural Media and Sport Committee, CMS, on April 10th, cited evidence from the likes of Wolf Hall director Peter Kaminsky and award-winning producer Jane Featherstone from Chernobyl and Netflix's Black Doves that urgent action is needed to protect distinctly British content, and they did try to do this in Canada as well. There is a rule in Canada that for every X amount of things produced for the US or for another country, there has to be a Canadian either series or movie that comes out consequently
Yeah, but
at the same time.
Netflix already does all that.
Not just for Netflix.
And they
in
wanted
Canada.
to put a tax on them anyway. This just shows the extent of the UK government's authoritarianism. They really want to try to control media. And we were talking about digital IDs yesterday. And it's going to be very interesting because I expect the UK to be one of the first countries to implement these digital IDs. And they'll probably try to use them for biometric verification when you go online. And what's going to happen when they want biometric verification for everybody that's going to log into social media, but the social media companies don't want to implement that because they're US based. Will the UK and the rest of the EU start banning these American companies? Yeah, I mean, Rumble was
or just incentivizing every single other country to also get biometric scanning and verification.
Well, a lot of
and digital ID.
Part of the reason we're on the Green Monster is because a lot of countries have tried to influence RUMBLE and told them you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. They said no, we're a free speech app, like free speech platform, and they refused to change it. So countries like France began banning them, and other EU countries have followed suit. So I'm wondering if something like that might happen when digital IDs come out.
Maybe, but I mean, it is dumb of, it says it's not going to happen here. But it is interesting that the UK is scared now of Netflix and other streaming platforms that could come in and take some of their British business when everything they produce, not everything is bad. I mean, I right now when I've been sick, I've been watching a series that you hate, but that I like. It's called Taskmaster, and they actually upload all of their episodes on YouTube for free. So that's how I watch them. But I mean, that I would say is like a worthy British TV show. But a lot of the other stuff, the dramas, the period dramas, we saw it happening with Anne Boleyn, the biopic they made where they turned Anne Boleyn black for some reason, and a lot of their Channel 4. BBC, all of the things that are produced in the UK have a very, woke tilt. So, of course, they're not doing as well.
Obviously, it's government propaganda because it's financed by the BBC, just like the CBC in Canada is government propaganda. Yes. This is a government-funded television station and radio station. But what I'm talking about here is why aren't social media companies based out of these countries? And it's because they have unfriendly business environments and unfriendly tax environments and unfriendly speech environments. So specifically, RUMBLE was based out of Canada. The owner is a Canadian citizen. He moved his company to the United States because the Canadian government began to attack him. And nobody's gonna open something in the UK because it's a completely unfriendly business environment to free speech, to tax, to everything.
Well, I mean, and being a basically former British colony almost, Canada just adopted a lot of the same rules as part of the Commonwealth as many other, like Australia as well. That's why they're all so similar, because they all follow the same type of.
Well, if Britain ever does get their own YouTube or their own Rumble and they build it themselves, it's obviously going to be a government shilled platform, and nobody's going to want to use it because of that reason.
Is happening to news in Canada, which Canada has basically made it impossible for any independent news outlets to even exist because they subsidize all of the ones that are friendly to the state or that are directly created by the Canadian government.
Okay.
Like the CBC.
Let's get into the next story here, maybe.
Okay. Florence Pugh said that she had to urge Marvel to let her jump off skyscraper for a Thunderbolt stunt.
Oh, and this was the second largest skyscraper, I believe, in the world. But they didn't want to...
Yes, in the world.
Now, let me see what my note was on here.
Yeah, because you put this on there.
It's the world's second tallest building. Due to Thunderbolt's insurance risk, they didn't want to let her do it, but she personally called Feige and said it would do wonders for the press tour. I don't think anybody's going to care. I don't think it's going to do wonders for the press tour. I think it's just she wanted bragging rights. But it is good to see a female actress actually doing their own stunts, much like Tom Cruise did.
I was gonna say, I mean, when Tom Cruise did the whole climbing up that tower in Dubai, was it?
Well, he does all of his stunts.
I know, but that one was big for the press of Mission Impossible, whatever number it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe she was right. I don't know.
She hasn't got much coverage, but... And nobody's interested. Yeah, if it's a good movie, maybe, but nobody's interested in this movie, and that's the problem. And they were thinking about calling it Dark Avengers, but they're trying to save that name because they're scared this movie is going to fail already.
Yeah, because she's portraying the new Black Widow, Yelena Belova. I just remember Natasha Romanoff. And yeah, she's just saying she wanted to do it, and eventually they let her.
Okay.
She had to keep
I
pushing.
like the original
Feige.
Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Yeah, she was much
I
better
don't know
than this
why.
girl.
I mean, now she hates it. I mean,
They got in a lawsuit.
Yeah, they're not friendly with each other anymore. That's why we haven't really seen any Black Widow stuff with her.
If Disney does ever sell, they may be able to mend rifts between a lot of these bigger actors that kind of don't like Disney. It would be nice to see. And it would be nice to see if Gina Carano one day had her come back to Disney. If Elon Musk ever bought it, it could happen.
I don't think Elon could.
And she recently won part of the court case where she's getting a lot of discovery.
Yes.
Anything to say?
No.
Okay.
Is that it? No.
No, we have one more story.
Then
Maybe two, actually. Sorry.
this one, golf.
Yeah. So the fact that, why don't you read the headline? And then...
Masters viewership on upswing with 33% growth for final round as Rory McIlroy seals career Grand Slam.
So yeah, I was just really surprised that golf is this popular.
There's a lot of old people out there.
But it's up 33%. Well, I know there's old people, but there are no young people watching golf. Although we did do that story the other day about
The indoor ones.
the indoor stadium golf, which I suppose the viewership for that's good as well. So, but I just find golf extremely boring to watch. It doesn't seem good for it doesn't seem very what you would call enticing for a younger audience. When Tiger was there, you can understand it because they really propped it up to a younger audience. Tiger's old now; they don't have anybody. The most famous golfer in the world right now is actually Donald Trump.
I mean, maybe Rory McIlroy is turning heads. I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to see them like golf lean into Trump and do an advertisement with him. It would be good for the sport, I think. So, and there's a lot of like conservatism in general.
And I guess maybe I was gonna say maybe because amongst younger men, conservatism is coming up and the more traditional stuff. Golf has always been kind of a very, let's just say, conservative sport. So maybe they're taking it up like as a sign of kind of protest because of also, I mean, golf also got really woke, but of how woke the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, how all of those went super woke. Golf kind of stayed under the radar. I mean, they did do their little things, but it never got to the point of
golf was
riding BLM on the finish line.
Golf was exclusively masculine for a long time because it was called the boys' club, where you're only allowed in if you were a man. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of what.
Also, there were a few. Speaking of men, there were a few hot female golf players that became these big like influencers. So maybe that's also why.
There's a lot of female golfers, and female golf is actually very much on the rise.
Yeah, but they're also doing provocative pictures.
Yeah,
and they're
becoming
Instagram models. Yeah, and so maybe that's also helping the sport. I don't know.
Okay, well, I just wanted to bring it up because this is the second story now where golf seems to be on the rise. I'm not a big golf fan. I have played it before, but I do not like it.
Maybe you have to start liking it. Maybe the next sport for you.
No. Okay, let's go into the last story here. And this was an interesting story.
So 4chan, a cesspool of the internet, this according to The Verge, is down after apparently being hacked. The site's forums aren't loading, and unverified rumors about leaks are swirling. I've never been a 4chan person, but...
Yeah, well, 4chan is kind of a throwback to when the internet was a lot more free. So when I was actually around when the internet first came up, when you would dial in, if somebody called your house, it would automatically disconnect. It would take literally 10 minutes for one page to open up, and hopefully I had no pictures on the page because it could take an hour.
Yes.
But This is a throwback to when it was a lot more uncensored. Yeah, there's a lot of cesspool things in 4chan, but a lot of internet sleuths, and especially a lot of YouTubers that do get a lot of good information, troll through these 4chan sites and get trends. And this is where you see different types of trends emerge first. So a lot of people think the government may have been trying to take it down. And this is what the attack was actually a government attack.
Which government? The U.S.?
They're
Trump?
just...
Why does Trump want it down?
I didn't say Trump and I didn't say the U.S. government, but they're, yeah.
But then what government?
Actually, when I was looking into this story and they were saying it could have been different governments from around the world that did this attack, this is actually what I would...
Because there are a lot of conspiracy theories
I would suspect that it was the globalist government because 4chan helped get Trump elected. That was the thing.
And also Reddit, which was kind of for a little bit, tried to be the competitor, became this like hyper woke, like you can't say anything. The moderators will kick you out. They're all, have nothing better to do with their time than to try to pursue ideologies that nobody else agrees on.
Yeah.
So,
and Anonymous actually first emerged on 4chan as well. So it'll be interesting if it comes back up or what happens with 4chan in the future.
yes.
Okay, and was that? Yeah, that was the last story.
Yes. So quickly, Walker says the series is Better Than Us on Netflix.
Oh,
okay,
better.
you.
Oh, hold on.
Better than, I'll just remember.
Oh, I'm just going to write it down.
I'll just think Better Than Us.
Better than me, that's what you're thinking.
Thank you, Walker, yes.
Than us.
And
Okay.
thank you again to Polo007 for the super sticker. And thank you for bearing with me, while my brain still doesn't fully work, fully function.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure how the Michonne RUMBLE is going to go today, but we got a ton of clips from the Feminist March, and I have a ton of other clips of just different stories, and then we have a bunch of stories to review. But I'm thinking now that I'm saying it, it's going to take quite a while to get through that. So we'll see what we do get through, but we'll start with the March footage, I guess.
Sure. So the feminism march on March 8th that we went to, but weren't able to interview anybody.
But people had hammers and there was all kinds of crazy things going on. We did get footage of that.
Yes. So we'll go over that and some political news as well. And yes, thank you. We'll see you there.
Oh, we'll see you over there. That's RUMBLE.
Yep.
Just type in that the guy. It will come right up. It's got the same thumbnail as the one here on YouTube.
Yes. Profile picture.
Okay. And go over there now.
Yes. Hold on. Okay. That one's ended.
And